Assalamu alaikum, little explorers. Get ready for another exciting journey as we open the pages of our next book from the series of Heavenly Children, The Best Daughter by Kisa KidsPublications. This special book is all about Hazrat Fatima Zahra Salam alayhi, the beloved daughter of our holy Prophet, peace be upon him. Her story is filled with courage, kindness, and amazing adventures that will make your heart sing. So let's turn the pages and step into the enchanting world of Hazrat Fatima Zahra Salam alayhi. The hot afternoon, the sun beat down on the people of Medina as they worked tirelessly. Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, had gotten news that the enemies of Islam were coming to attack the Muslims, and the whole city was in danger. After discussion with his companions, the Prophet, peace be upon him, decided that the best way to protect themselves was to dig a large trench around the city. All the men had been digging and digging for hours. Everyone was hungry and thirsty, but there was no time to stop. All you could hear were the loud clunks of shovels and pickaxes hitting the dirt. Some people were picking up and piling rocks, while others were scooping up the dirt, but nobody stopped working. The most beautiful sight was that the noble Prophet, peace be upon him, working right alongside the men and guiding and encouraging them. Everyone was on high alert, listening for the enemy's approach. The Muslims had been working very hard over the last few days to finish before the enemy arrived. After many more hours of digging, one of the men finally yelled out, "Tell the Prophet, peace be upon him, we are done! We are finally done!" The men rushed to the Prophet, peace be upon him, and told him the good news. The Prophet, peace be upon him, praised Allah for all his support. He then called out to all his Muslim followers to get ready, as the idol-worshipping Meccans would come any time. All the soldiers headed home to eat, get dressed in battle clothes, and take up their weapons, ready to defend Islam. The Prophet, peace be upon him, walked to the edge of the trench and saw a large cloud of dust in the distance. The earth shook below his feet. The faint sound of horses' hooves could be heard in the distance. The enemy had arrived. The Prophet, peace be upon him, looked at his soldiers, who were dedicated, loyal, and strong. They were so tired, but full of hope and faith in Allah. As the enemy approached, they gathered their strength and prepared for a difficult war. The Prophet, peace be upon him, himself was tired and had not eaten for 3 days, but he stood strong with a heart full of trust in Allah, determined to defend truth and justice. He kept a steady eye on the arriving enemies. He had tried many times to make peace with them, but they insisted on fighting. Not too far in the distance, you could see the women of Medina coming out of their homes, scared and worried, but hopeful in Allah. They were praying to Allah for the Muslims to be successful against the attack of their enemies. Meanwhile, one noble lady stood in her doorway, worried for everyone's well-being, but especially that of her father. This was Sayyida Fatima Zahra alayhi salam, the loyal and loving daughter of the Prophet, peace be upon him. She knew how much effort and time he had invested the past few days in the service of Allah. She also knew that he had not had a meal in all that time. Sayyida Fatima alayhi salam loved her father very much, and it pained her to know how hungry he was, even as a child. Sayyida Fatima alayhi salam was known as Abiha, the mother of her father, because of how she loved him dearly and cared for him. As she thought about him in the battlefield, she couldn't help but wonder how tired and hungry he must be. Just thinking about it moved her to action. She headed straight into the kitchen. I'm going to cook the best possible food for my father, she thought to herself. However, all she could find in the house was some flour. What could she do with just flour? Suddenly, a great idea came to her mind. She quickly lit a fire and warmed the tandoor. She whispered a Bismillah before starting, then continued reading zikr, Allah's praise, as she began kneading the flour into dough. Working carefully, she shaped the dough into small circles. Then she put the dough into the tandoor and watched it bake into bread. When Sayyidah Fatima finished, she felt a little upset. She thought to herself, is this really all I can give to my father? She swallowed hard and held back tears. However, remembering how hungry her father was, she thanked Allah for even this simple offering, quickly wrapped the fresh baked bread in a red cloth and headed towards the battlefield. As Sayyidah Fatima walked, the thought of her hungry father kept pushing her to move more quickly. The blistering sun of Medina beat down on her face, and she could hear the clamoring of soldiers in the battle. She continued onward. She saw that some of the enemies had managed to cut across the trench and were already in combat with the Muslim army. When the Prophet, peace be upon him, caught sight of Sayyidah Fatima he quickly dismounted his horse and hurried towards her. The Prophet, peace be upon him, leaned down with kindness and tenderness in his eyes and greeted her with salam. Sayyidah Fatima happily uncovered the bread, which was still warm, and presented it to her father. He smiled. Where did you get this from? He asked. Sayyidah Fatima answered warmly, I baked them for you, dearest father. The Prophet, peace be upon him, took a whiff of the fresh bread, gingerly broke off a piece, and took a bite. His face lit up with delight. My dear Fatima, this is the most delicious bread I've ever tasted, he said. Your bread is the first bite of food that I have had in 3 days. Sayyidah Fatima smiled from ear to ear. She was so grateful to be able to help him in this way. Affectionately, she kissed her father's hand. Now that the bread had been delivered, it was time for Sayyidah Fatima to leave the battlefield. Father and daughter bid each other farewell. The Prophet, peace be upon him, mounted his horse and rode back into the battlefield. As she watched him leave, Sayyidah Fatima couldn't help but notice that he looked taller, stronger, and more vibrant than the burning Medina sun. Wow, what an amazing book, where we learned about the amazing Hazrat Fatima Zahra Salam Alayhi. She showed us that love and kindness are superpowers we all have. So remember her story, be kind like she was, and be ready for more magical adventures with Heavenly Children series. Sweet dreams, young explorers, and see you soon!